So that with that in mind, we will get going. When people get started in real estate, whether you've been started or you started and stopped, a lot of times people want to know what's stopping you. Here's three things that stop people, whether you got started or whether you haven't got going in real estate yet. Fear. And by all means, fear is really the first and top thing that really just keeps most people on the sidelines. And there's no reason for it. In fact, fear, the main reason that people fear things is because they don't know what's happening next, what to do next. Okay, they don't know what to do next. And so I'm going to show you that tonight. I'm going to show you a recipe that I use for wholesaling houses. So there's no reason for fear because you'll see what the next steps are. The other thing is bad credit. A lot of people in today's economy have had a hiccup or two and have bad credit, and they think, man, I can't buy a property or be in the real estate game because they got bad credit. Well, I'm going to show you tonight why that's just not true. And there's lots of ways to buy real estate with no credit. But when we talk about wholesaling, I'm going to give you some examples tonight. And kind of what's tied into that as well is people that don't have any down payment. If you go to a banker, they want for an investment property, they want 10 or 20% down. And most people aren't going to get real excited about that. So I'm going to show you tonight how to buy and flip real estate with no money, with no credit, how to erase the fear, because I'm going to show you the recipe that I use to wholesale houses. Now, I'm going to show you my handy dandy drawing. To some of you, this may look like some red mountains, but really what it is, I want to show you where the real estate cycles and just an illustration of how the real estate cycles go up and then they go back down and then they go up and they go back down. And there's a right time, there's a right place to buy real estate. And right now is the right time because we're at the bottom. And a lot of people get real excited about a couple things about buying property at the bottom, and it's wrong. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Let's say at the peak of the market, there was a property that was maybe worth at the very peak $200,000. Today, at the bottom, where we are at now, that property probably lost half of its value and is probably worth $100,000. And I do talk with people who aren't very well educated all the time that say, hey, I bought this property just a couple of years ago, it's worth $200,000, and today it's worth $100,000. I got a steal on it. But what they don't realize is they paid market value, so it's not a deal. So there's a right time and there's a right place, and the right place is to buy property below the market, below the bottom, and that's what you got to do to make money in real estate today. Because when you buy below the bottom, you profit when you buy, no matter what your exit strategy is. Okay. In fact, let's highlight three exit strategies that a lot of real estate investors use, myself included. The first one, if you buy below the market and you buy at discounts, it opens up the doors to do all kinds of things. Your exit strategies, your profit potential, you decide which one you'd like to use in many cases. For instance, when you buy below the bottom, you can decide if you want to wholesale a property or not. Now, for instance, let's talk about that property that someone bought at the bottom price of $100,000 and they thought it was a good buy, but they bought it at retail. Really, to buy below the bottom, you need to get that thing for about $65,000. And I'll show you how and where to get those properties like that. And when you buy a $100,000 property for $65,000, you know that you can wholesale that thing in most cases for a $10,000 assignment fee. Someone would be happy to pay $75,000 for a $100,000 property. Now, when you buy that property so cheap at $65,000, you could wholesale it for a quick profit and just spin it off. Or you could also consider, if you go to the next step, and do a fix and flip for profit. So that same property, you may put carpet and paint in it and sell it for $100,000. And if there's no realtors involved, you're looking at a $30,000 plus profit. Just with the same thing, you just chose a different exit strategy. And then also, when you buy below the bottom, you can do a third strategy, which I call the net worth cash flow profit. And you could rent that property, have a $300 or $400 a month monthly cash flow, and you could sell it at a later time. It'd give you an instant net worth bump of $30,000+. So these are different things, different exit strategies you can do when you buy property below the bottom. So pay attention. It's really important that you just don't buy at the bottom. You got to buy below it. So today we're going to highlight wholesaling for profit and a quick start investing guide by wholesaling. So tonight we're going to talk about what wholesaling is. I'm going to show you how to find bargain properties, the same system that I use. I'm going to show you how money is made wholesaling houses and how you can do this with no money or credit of your own. So before we get too deep into this, let's talk about who this is for. This is for new investors who'd like to complete their very first deal. So if you've never done a deal, get your pencil out. This is going to be cool. This is also for advanced or experienced investors who have done a few deals, maybe slowed down, and just want to take it and ramp it up to the next level. Okay. And it's also for people who are not afraid of hard work and action planning. So since we talked about who this is for and who this is going to benefit, let's talk about who this is not for. This training tonight is not for people who want to push a button or a get-rich scheme. They just don't exist. I'm sorry if that's what you're looking for, they don't exist. And this is also not for people who are lazy and don't want to work. So this, or probably anything regarding real estate, is not a good fit for you. So with that out of the way, I want to make a promise to you. First, at the end of the training tonight, I'm going to do a live Q&A with you. So if you have any real estate investing questions, let me know what they are. I'd love to help you and answer those questions for you at the end. So save those, and I'd be happy to help. Also, during this training, I'm going to attempt to give you the very best content, hopefully, that you've seen all year. And I hope that you appreciate this information so much that when I make you an offer at the end of today's event, and I will make an offer, and that you'll fall all over yourself to invest in it if you want some personal help. And if that's the case and you'd like some personal help, I just want to give you a heads up that the people who sign up for my personal training first will get the most. I'll tell you more about that at the end. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brock Collins. I've been a full-time real estate investor for the past 14 years. And I bought and flipped a ton of properties over the years, but I don't call myself a guru. One thing that I do know is I know how to find and buy real estate really cheap with no money or credit of my own. And so I've been in the trenches for the last 14 years. Here's just a few of the houses that I've bought, not anywhere near what I've bought, but I wanted to show you. I bought mostly cookie cutter houses, and they really fit the wholesale market, and it's the entry level market, so you can fix and flip, or it's perfect for rental property. So here's just a few of the properties that I picked up over the years along the way. So I hope my life experiences, good and bad, can add value to you tonight. Now let's go into what wholesaling houses really is. There seems to be some mythology or some secret that there's a lot of science to this, and there really isn't. It's really straightforward. Here's what it is. Wholesaling houses is when you put a property under contract at a big discount. So just like we talked about that property that was worth $100,000, well, it's at the bottom of the market. Now it's only worth 100. Well, we don't want to pay really any more than 65,000 because we want to allow for all of our exit strategies to be in effect. So we're buying this at a big discount. So we're getting a property under contract, just signing a purchase and sale agreement at a big discount, and then we're simply going to flip or assign that set of paperwork to a cash buyer for more than we agree to pay. And there's two ways to profit when you wholesale, and there's two kind of exit strategies, if you will, and there's reasons to use each. The first one is an assignment of contract. So, well, I'll show you an example in just a minute. The second way to exit out of a wholesaling deal is to do a double close. Some people refer to it as a simultaneous close. So let's take a look at an example here in just a minute, and I'll show you how an assignment of contract works, how you put a whole deal together from start to finish, okay? So here's my handy drawings again. I'm going to give you an example of an assignment. So our pretty stick figure here is you and I. We're the real estate investor. And what I want you to know and understand that if you do not have houses that you get a hold of under value, if you don't know where to look, you have no business in real estate. There's no profit. So you have to know where to look. Now, when you know where to look and you turn your button on to send out what I'm going to show you in a few minutes, then you have deals. So let's say that we turned our button on and we pushed some marketing out to the right properties that fit our criteria, and we came up with this property. Now, this property here, the seller calls us and says, hey, I want to sell. And this particular property, the seller called me and said she wanted $60,000 for this property. And one thing you want to do with these sellers is you want to build rapport, find out what it is that and why they really want to sell. Okay. So when you find that out, this particular seller owned a whole gobble of rental property, and this ended up being the last one that she owned, and she was just tired of dealing with property. So because of the condition of this property, I told the seller the most I would pay her is $30,000 cash. Now, mind you, at the time, I had no money, okay? But I knew I could wholesale this property. So the seller thought about it, called me back the next day and said, all right, I'll take your offer for $30,000. So here's what we did. I just grabbed a simple purchase and sale agreement, and I took it over to her home. She signed it and said, I'm the seller. I'm willing to sell this property for $30,000. And I signed this purchase and sale agreement as the buyer and or the assigns. And what that did is allowed me to buy it myself or assign this contract. Okay. So now that both the seller and I had signed this contract, what it does, it allows us to, it gave me equitable interest right now. And when you have equitable interest in a piece of property, you then have the right to sell it. And so what I did with this property, I knew I could wholesale it for more than I agreed to pay. So I had, along the way, been acquiring in different ways in a cash buyers list in my area. They're very simple to acquire. So I sent an email to the people that I knew bought investment property for cash. And I said, hey, I've got this property. It's at 808 Sherwood. I said, I will sell this to the very first person, cash buyer, that will pay $40,000 for this property. And right away, Joe Cash Buyer emailed me back and said, I know exactly where that's at. I'll take it. I'll pay you cash. I'll give you $40,000. So I told him, I said, that's perfect. Here's the deal. I actually haven't closed on this property yet, but I have a contract to close on it. What I'd like to do is just assign my paperwork to you for an assignment fee. And I said, I'm buying this for $30,000. You've agreed to buy it for $40,000. So I'm going to give you, I would like a $10,000 assignment fee. And he said, no problem. I'm completely comfortable with that. So here's what we did. All we did is we added one more paper to this mix right here. It was a one-page assignment agreement. Here's what it said. It said that myself, as the investor, was willing to assign all of my rights to the contract to this property for, well, in this example, I'm going to say for an assignment fee of $10,000. And I sign it. The cash buyer signs it. So here's what happens. Now, you would either take the purchase and sale agreement and the assignment, and you would either give it to your real estate attorney or to your title company and open escrow. And the cash buyer would take your place, show up at closing, use their cash, and at closing, he would pay $30,000 for the house, and the remaining $10,000 would be your assignment fee. And it's as simple as that. So here you are. You found the property, you wholesaled the property, and all you did with the one piece of paper, an assignment agreement, assigned your rights to the purchase and sale agreement for an assignment fee of $10,000. Now, this took no money of your own to buy this property. That's how assignments work. It's really simple. A lot of people think there's this great big science to it, but it's really simple. Okay, so this is the end of video number 1. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to email you video number 2, so be looking for it. Video number 2, or part 2, it's packed with really high value information. So here's what you'll discover in video number 2. You'll discover the second exit strategy to wholesale houses, and I'm going to show you my secret techniques that I use to find bargain properties that have motivated sellers. Very key to the real estate investing business. And if you want to talk to me live, ask me any real estate investing questions, you can do so by going to my website at www.mycoformula.com/talk, or simply click the link below this video. Well, this concludes video number 1. So if you're interested in talking to me live and discussing some real estate investing techniques or strategies, please do so by going to mycoformula.com/talk and pick the best time to talk for you. And then we'll see you tomorrow with part 2.